like to call the Groseal Downtown Development Authority meeting to order. Our first item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Ross, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, I gotta ask Eric. I'm good.
What's up, Eric? Next item is roll call. Mr. Moran is here. Supervisor Budney.
Present.
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Pusak.
Here.
Mr. Ranley.
Here.
Mr. Gergley.
Here.
Ms. Karn.
Here.
Mr. Jacobson.
Here.
Ms. Pemberton.
Here.
100%.
Hey.
Next item is any deletions or additions to the agenda? And if there is not, I'll entertain a motion to
Did you see the email
approve.
from Jared? Are we gonna talk about it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll have it in my report.
Okay.
Any additions or deletions? If there is none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Budney,
Second.
support by Ms. Pusak. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is presentations, and we have a presentation by the DDA Public Art Consultant, Allie. See you there, buddy. Hi, Allie.
Oh.
I missed you guys. We missed you. Good. Okay. So I put together, I was talking to Ross a little bit a few weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, about where to go this year, to continue on to lease sculptures, and we were kind of throwing some ideas around, and
Oh, you're good. And I have talked to him in the past about doing a piece that is more community oriented and getting community members involved in creating the piece. So I put together this presentation on what would be a fused glass wall that the Groseal community members would be a part of creating. So I will just go through the whole presentation. Okay, so I wrote this public artwork will be created with the help of the Groseal community by directly involving the public in the creation of this new landmark. The space will resonate because the artwork will have meaning to all. The idea is to have residents create fused glass tiles from pre-cut shapes that will then be used to create a vibrant and colorful fused glass wall. By having area residents make the glass art insets, the sculpture aims to create an increased sense of local identity and community. Okay, so process. Preparation, all of the glass shapes will be pre-cut using a water jet cutting machine. The water jet cutting machine uses a high-powered water stream mixed with an abrasive. This machine will naturally give the edges of each cutout a sanded feel, assuring all edges of the glass are smooth and safe to be handled. Community members will be given a clear 5x5 inch base that will be formed, they will form their design on top of from the pre-cut shapes. Elmer's glue is used to hold the glass pieces in place while being transported to and from the kiln. Each tile will be fused individually and then a second time along with multiple other tiles to create multiple panels that will be assembled into a steel frame. Okay. So this is an example of a tile. Does it look, it's not warped up there, is it? Okay, up here, on here it is a little bit, or it's like adjusting the size. So this is just like a 5x5 piece. All of the colorful pieces are assembled on top of a clear template. And this is an example of what 9 of those smaller tiles would then be fused into a larger piece that will fit into the frame accordingly. So this was one potential design idea. the flowing blue water-like element, obviously giving reference to the water in our island. We had Ross and I talked about something that was a little bit more gestural rather than, super specific imagery. So the residents would be involved in creating these colorful pieces that would then be inset into the frame. So the frame will be laser cut with multiple sheets of steel, be welded together to create the frame for the glass panels to be installed into. And then I thought that Lions Park would be a great location for the community artwork, to create a space for residents to come and visit, feeling that they were a part of creating that space. And then we have the timeline. I'm not going to, unless you would like me to, read through this whole entire timeline. This is a loose timeline until I start working with the community and getting a good sense of, how many people are coming out to make the pieces. It's kind of dependent upon that. So the timeline is definitely subject to change. This could potentially be done sooner or take longer, depending, really that's the element that it depends on, is getting people to come out to make the pieces. So, and then I have the budget. Is this the end? Yes.
So Ally, the completion is really dependent on the participation of the citizens.
Yep.
Right?
So we're, and we have talked about this a little bit. So how are we and where and when are we going to have community members come out and make these pieces? I think taking advantage of Island Nights is a great time to do that. I feel that we'll need more time than just those. I think there's 4 Island Nights. But setting up a tent, just as we did the Art on the Isle tent last year, and having everything all out for community members to come and make the pieces there during all 4 of those Island Nights. And then I was thinking potentially another good idea would be to maybe once a month, in addition to that, like setting up a tent type thing outside of a different business once a month that kind of wanted to host us using their property. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Hey, Allie. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna ask, so this will start, once we actually get our plans in shape to actually get going on this. I mean, we're not gonna do this necessarily this year if we don't have the rest of the plans in place and the money. Correct? I mean, we're not putting the cart before the horse here and working on this wall when we don't have the money for the park.
Well, Ron and I are going to sit down tomorrow and talk about budget for next year, and we'll incorporate her cost breakdown and her timeline in coordination with the first phase of Lions Park, which will be constructed. We're thinking spring is where we're going to lay down the concrete. So Ron and I are going to sit down tomorrow and kind of plan everything out accordingly tomorrow. So,
Ally, can you go back to the rendering of the park?
Mm-hmm.
So, as we talked last time, and we authorized Raines to do the plans and specifications, we're doing the concrete that's in this park that you see in the rendering. So the sort of circular or egg-shaped pavement, the intent is that this would be installed sometime late spring, early summer, as soon as the weather permits. So that'll be in place. Funding, as far as we know, as far as we'll review tomorrow, but that's in place. So then the next part would be to start the wall, And as you saw, there was, the funding will be in phases as it gets done, so
I can
it
go
could
to the
be spread out
timeline.
over time. And then as each one of the panels gets done, and they're what, 5 by 10? Is
Yep,
it
I have
roughly?
them measured at 5 by 10 feet each.
Okay.
So the full wall will be 5 by 30 feet.
Okay.
And I have, April 2025 will be the third section to be
Right.
installed, which it could be spread out longer. That, I had initially said it could be over 3 years that, you're creating the middle part first and then the second one, the second year. So it can be spread out. Yeah.
Due to funding, it could be 3 years, one section each year, if the funding isn't available, or if it's just not being done as fast as
Right.
I guess we would hope it would be done. So if the funding is there and the response is good, it could go faster and we could get it all done, this year if it all worked out well. But, I'm guessing it's going to take more than 1 year for all 3 panels.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, I'm thinking of the park itself. I mean, we don't want, I wouldn't think we'd want that up there and nothing else done, and then, so we want most of the park to be done too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
mean-
say too, though, it might be really nice to have the wall, say if you line up the planning of certain elements of the park in the next 3 years and do the park in stages, and then the final and align it with the third panel being installed as like the kind of completion of the park. That could be something that I think could be really cool and a kind of like a celebratory thing to have that third panel installed and the whole park completed, and then have a big like celebration in the park.
Have we looked at anything else besides this? I mean, we know we had the water wall and that went down this. Is there anything else that we've looked at?
We looked at doing the wall without the water, and then you might put something on that wall. It's not going to be just a blank wall. There would be something on it. But I think this is I like this myself. I think this is a good idea. It's a way to get the residents involved.
I'm not, and it does. It's going to get
Yeah.
some residents. We're going to get, we'll there's some that'll like it, some that won't. I like the idea. I think it's colorful. I think it in this rendering, it's very nice. It looks good.
Yeah.
What about vandalism?
So that is with anything that we have put up. We have 12 sculptures now and
But this is
5 murals. So
this is big, and I'm just
yeah.
I'm
No,
just,
it-
especially being
absolutely.
glass.
It is
a big
with
piece of
so
glass.
a point to that. The glass will, if panels need to be replaced, it will be designed so that the panels can be basically set into a frame, and the frame will come apart so that panels
So
can be
if
replaced.
If one
Yes,
panel gets
'cause
cracked,
I very
it doesn't
specifically
ruin
thought
the
about that.
whole.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, like how many individual people could do a plaque? Like how many approximately are in this design?
We talked about that. I think it was about 150 people, which that will depend on the templates don't have to be 5 by 5 inches. I plan to really I'm going to take those full measurements and see exactly how many 5 by 5 panels or 6, if it's 6 by 6, how many we can get out of that, to see how many people we need to be involved in that.
And the panels aren't all exactly the same. From your drawing there, it looked like some were wider, some were taller, and so which I like, that they're
Yeah.
not all exactly
So
the same.
and that will just be, that's just determined on, you know, if it's a smaller one, maybe there's just 2 5x5 tiles in there, and then the bigger ones, there could be 9 and so on. So it'll be designed to be able to fit those 5x5 inch or whichever specific dimension that we go with.
Any comments, questions for Ally?
I mean, I think this is really beautiful. It's a much more cost-effective option than the water wall that we were looking at. I love that it's community-oriented. I also love that it's permanent, you know, because, I mean, renting sculptures is really nice, but I think having this really great tie with the community and it be something that, you know, we're looking at having there for many, many years to come, I think is wonderful. I love the river flowing through that, and I just think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
If I may.
Russ?
So we only have 3 island nights, but later we're going to get to approving our event schedule. We're going to be having a farmer's market at Macomb Street every Saturday from May until October. So that would be a perfect opportunity.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
And you wouldn't have to be there every Saturday. I mean, whenever you would have availability, I'm sure that we'll have some residents out there, so.
Okay, yeah,
So,
that'd be great.
But with the 150, that doesn't seem like it's going to take long to fill that up.
I think people will be willing to do it.
Ally hopes.
Yeah, I hope so. And that will, Ross and I also talked about presenting this to the community and giving people a sense of how the project will operate, and you know, including these images so people can really get a good idea of what it will end up looking like. And I think that will be a good opportunity to gauge people's interest in the project in itself and see how many people are interested in coming out to do that.
And it's free to participate, correct? So I don't think it'll
Yep.
take long.
And so if, let's say, everybody loves this and we fill up all the panels, is there the ability, the availability later on to add additional panels to it, like as far as the space and the dimensions?
Yeah, so yep, we so it's 3 different 5 by 10 foot sections, so that can be built upon. If we will just have to, the full park planning will have to just be taken into consideration with the rest of how the rest of the park operates.
Can you
But
go up
definitely.
with it? Can you build?
That would be something that I think it would just have to start out as being taller. I mean, it could be 6 or 7, 8 feet tall to start. That's definitely an option, but I would say that would just be something that would have to happen up front rather than building it later.
With-
Just for,
Sorry.
No, you're
With
good.
the installation, will it be directly on the ground or will it be a foot or so above?
so it will
ground?
sit on a concrete pad. The concrete pad and then it will be installed on the concrete pad. So the concrete pad can sit up higher too, so we can design it exactly how we want it to be. If we want it to come up 2-3 feet above the ground to give it that height, that's definitely possible.
Just had a thought of, if this goes gangbusters and fills all up, maybe there's like a supplemental piece that is somewhere else on Macomb Street that might be a different shape that, I don't know,
Yeah, absolutely.
pretty cool concept.
Yeah, I am very excited about this. I think I hope at least people will be excited. I think it is something that people will have a personal attachment to, so they hopefully can get excited about it. But yeah.
Does anybody not agree with moving forward with it? I don't hear any objections, so,
Uh,
okay.
My thought is, Ally, that I'll have you come to one of our board meetings and make a presentation so we can really get the word out to the people.
Absolutely. I would love to. Okay.
Okay. If there's nothing else, thank you, Ally. Nice
All
job.
right. Thank you,
Very
guys.
Good idea.
Thank
Okay, we will move on to our next item, which is the approval of the minutes of the January 25th, 2024 meeting.
I'll move to approve.
Support?
Motion by Ms. Pusak, supported by Supervisor Budney. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is our financial update, the approval of the January 2024 financial report.
I would move that they be accepted.
Motion
Support.
by Supervisor Budney, supported by Ms. Pendleton. Is there any discussion? Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at that, and pretty normal. Anything to point out, Ross, but seemed pretty normal payment of bills this month?
Yeah, everything looks normal.
Nothing else? We have a motion by by Supervisor Budney, supported by Ms. Pendleton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Our action item number 1 is a motion to approve the Groseal Downtown Development Authority meeting dates for 2024 and 2025.
We did,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Gurgley,
Support?
supported by Supervisor Budney. Under discussion.
we will move the November meeting from the 28th to the 21st.
That works for me.
I love you people, but I'm not spending Thanksgiving
Yeah, the
with you.
28th is considered to be
I'll double check to make sure there's no,
Yeah, we have to make sure there's.
yeah,
Okay.
but
assuming there's no other meetings that day in this room, we'll move it to the 21st. And you're okay with that for your motion?
Sure.
You're okay with support?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the meeting dates with the movement of the November 28th meeting to the 21st, as long as the room here is open. By Mr. Gurgley, supported by Supervisor Budney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the Downtown Development Authority event dates for 2024. Somebody wants to make a motion and we can discuss it?
I'll
I'll
make a
move.
motion to approve.
Oh, and then I'll support.
Motion by Ms. Karn, supported by Supervisor Budney. Under discussion.
yeah, so.
Kind of walk through these.
Yeah, definitely. So at the top, in May 18th, we'll start our farmers market on Macomb Street. It'll be every Saturday from 8 till 12. We're finalizing logos and marketing materials right now, and securing a location once we start construction at Lions Park. I've talked with Dr. Callan. He said that we could utilize his property across from Macomb Street. So I'll be meeting with him next Wednesday to kind of discuss logistics and, just kind of meet with him about things. So we're really excited about that. It's sponsored with Community Grown Gardens, and the events committee and myself have been meeting with them every second Wednesday. So, and we're going to have small vendors. We're going to start small, kind of work small, and then if it grows, it grows. If not, that's fine too. We're going to have, I think I talked about this last meeting, but we're going to have local, only Groseal residents having being vendors at the market. So there's a lot of people selling sourdough on Facebook and kind of things out of their home. So we want to bring them out, and to support them. So, and then June 1st is Island Fest, which the DDA always financially supports. We were talking about maybe there's ways that we could help support a little bit more, whether it be setting up a stand or, just being present on that day. And then Concert on the Commons is every Sunday from June 23rd to August 25th. That's the Groseal Alliance of the Arts. I believe that we financially support them every year. So we'll help promote that a little bit more. Island nights. So we're moving to Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. The third Friday of every month from June to August. Just kind of workshopping with the rec department and the events committee. We feel like, why not go for that Friday during the summer to see, maybe people, coming back from their boats, or maybe they're going out before the sun sets. They'll stop by Macomb Street on their way out to their boats or on their way back. So we'll see how that works. We got some really great ideas. Anything from dog or pet themed, or to vintage Americana, to art themed. So we got some ideas in the works, and we've been working hard on that one.
Ross,
so.
did you check the weather forecast for that?
I'm just praying at this point. That's all.
Can't be any worse.
Yeah. And then September 27th is Paint the Town Red. We're just going to keep it to one day again. We're going to have Gyra. I'm going to reach out to them once we get closer to that date. And they're going to have a cookout. Might reach out to Sully's to see if they're willing to do a barbecue or something like that. So we're going to work that one out once we get closer to that date. And then the Halloween parade, the rec department typically runs, and we kind of support a little bit. So we're going to try to program that a little bit better. Then Ladies Night Out, November 8th, and Island Glow, December 6th. So.
Anybody have any questions about the event schedule?
Do you need anyone to reach out to the Art Alliance to ask for an official letter to support them financially? I know we kind of went through that a couple of years ago.
I could reach out to them. I have a contact over there, so I'll make a note of that. Thanks for that reminder.
Anything else? Hearing none, we have a motion by Ms. Carnes, supported by Supervisor Budney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 3 is a motion to elect the chairman of the Groseal DDA.
I'll make the motion to have Ron continue as DDA chair.
I'll support.
Got a motion by Supervisor Budney, supported by Ms. Pusak, to elect Ron Moran as chairman of the DDA. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Yeah.
Item number 4 is a motion to approve the marketing coordinator job posting.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion by Supervisor Budney, supported by Ms. Pembleton. Ross, you want to give a little recap of what this is?
Yeah, so if you guys remember, a few months ago, we were kind of workshopping, do we get a marketing and events coordinator? What would that look like? So since we've approved to work with the rec department for event support on our events this year. I've kind of got together this job posting for a marketing coordinator, and I think that our social media presence needs to be increased a little bit to gain awareness from folks in the community of what's happening on Macomb Street, highlighting our events, highlighting businesses. We were talking earlier about Century 21, what they've been doing about highlighting events on Macomb Street, which is great. I'll say it here first. They stole my idea. No, I'm just kidding. But it's those sorts of things that we should be doing as a DDA to promote our businesses as much as possible. And this position we have for $20 an hour at 10 hours a week, and that could fluctuate. This person would, what we're looking for is someone that can, that has great photography skills, can, put together videos, has, great marketing skills, or they're learning, they're a college student that's on the island, or possibly even a high school student that has exceptional, that might be, good at Canva, like different types of software that we use, that I use, that I'm just not good at. I try really hard, but I'm just not a marketing guy. But so we're gonna put this job posting out there to see what we get. We got some people in mind. So yeah.
Good. Any questions for Ross? Hearing none, we have a motion by Supervisor Budney, supported by Ms. Pemberton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the payment to Nicholas Ashman for the purchase of the sculpture titled Tangled in the amount of $5,000. For those, I think you all know, this is the one that's in front of Perdino's.
Yep.
Keeping that one then, right?
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by
yeah.
Mr. Gurley,
Support.
supported by Supervisor Budney. Just as I understand, that's a very popular one. A lot of people like that. And tell a little bit of the history of the artist and kind of what's going on, Ross.
Yeah, so we never got a signed contract from the artist. He just kind of cut all communication. So I've been reaching out to him like, hey, we got to get you paid. And he's moving across the country. He said, you know what, you guys can have it for $5,000. And Allie, I think, said it's worth around $8,000 or so. So he's on it for $5,000. You can take it off my hands instead of having to send me checks and then him having to fly across country to come pick it up in a couple years. So we felt this, it's a win-win. So
instead of us leasing it for 2 years, we were able to reduce the sale price by quite a bit.
Yep.
And purchase it. So basically for $2,000, really the difference that we were gonna rent it for and purchase it. And it's a value of $8,000, so I think it's well worth the value of purchase.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions on that? Hearing none, we got a motion by Mr. Gurley, supported by Supervisor Budney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is discussion items, and I understand we have an item to discuss tonight. Ross?
yeah, so it was brought up. Jerry had emailed me asking about the status of my presentation regarding the conservation easement and the playground on Macomb Street. Unfortunately, it sounds like that land swap will not work out. The Nature and Land Conservancy is not willing to release that conservation easement. They believe that if they were to release a portion of that easement, that it would threaten the status of their nonprofit, and some sort of issues with the IRS, worrying about the IRS reviewing their property tax. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know the specifics of the IRS issue, but
It's their status
Yep.
as a tax exempt.
yeah. So we got a letter from them shortly after that presentation, and it was mailed to the rec department and Dr. Khaled that they would not be willing to release a portion of that conservation easement. So at this time, we're going to still kind of workshop to see if there's another way that we can make this happen. But at this point, we're kind of looking at all alternatives at this moment. So
Ross, did they reach out to the governing body and ask, or they're just thinking it's not going to work?
So on their body, to my understanding, they have several attorneys on that sits on that board, and it's their recommendation that if they were to do this, that could be, if they were to release the easement, it would threaten their nonprofit status. So whether I tried to call the state to kind of get some sort of confirmation on this, and I haven't heard back.
Yeah, it'd be a federal, not a state.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, we could look into that.
Yeah, I mean, I
mean, I know where to call.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, just to get some sort of confirmation,
Yeah.
not this is what we believe.
Right,
We've
right.
consulted our attorney on this. She doesn't seem to think so, but that she also disclosed that she's not a conservation easement attorney. I mean, she's a,
Well,
she knows,
it's not a conservation easement thing. That's a tax status.
Yeah.
And it's not even a tax attorney, it's a tax exempt attorney, which is, believe me, is a very narrow field. So, it's something we can look into and maybe, answer that question for them.
yeah. We're not giving up just yet, but
You're not giving up on what?
on pursuing this land swap.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seemed, it just seemed like such a win-win-win. I mean, they give up this much, they get more.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, it worked out for all the parties.
Right.
So,
Okay, don't give up, Russ.
yeah, I'm trying.
Next item is Director's Report. Anything else,
Nope.
Russ? Next item is Chairman's Report. I have nothing tonight. Next item is public comment. There's no one out in the public today, so is there any other open business by any member?
Well, I finally pulled into the parking lot because I went down to ask Jerry a question this morning, and then we were talking about the Hoi Pan behind there, because he had brought up, I think, last meeting that might be a spot where you could stick a park. I mean, I never knew that there was public parking back there, and there's lots of grass to be cut. Anything new there with what's happening with that easement? Blah, blah.
Not yet. We're looking at listing it. It was approved by the township board 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, our last meeting.
The last meeting. So we're starting to prepare to list it for sale. I mean, just this year, according to our finance report, I think it was like $1,000 to cut that grass back there for the year. And since the DDA owned it since '93, or not owned it, but maintained it since '93 or what have you. So $1,000 every year since 1993. That's $30,000 or whatever. So it's this over long-term cost that just we should kind of look into selling. So
Is it still a secret who bought Hoi Pan?
yes.
Do
The
they
sale
have
is
any
still
interest in it?
pending. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did the Vitale's
Actually,
building sell?
I heard that rumor also.
The VFW building is pending right now.
Pending sale?
Yep.
But not Vitale's.
Not Vitale's. Not to my knowledge, at least.
I heard that in a parking lot conversation. I thought it was true.
Yeah. Well,
That was humorous.
You
That
might-
was
yeah,
supposed to be funny.
Anything else? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:09.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Budney,
Support.
support by Mr. Jacobson.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries.